Just as she's chewing there, it's interesting, maybe we've got such a beautiful view of her feeding at the moment. A lot of your predators and all your big hunting animals, both cats and dogs, they've got the canine teeth, which are obviously very important, but it's not what they use for feeding. They're very important teeth when it comes to catching the food, being able to kill the prey, whether it's by suffocation, others to grab hold of the throat and suffocate the animal, or in the case of leopards especially, they're very good at biting into the neck vertebra and severing the spinal cord or the nerves in the spinal column. That's where the canine teeth are very important. Now what she's doing right at the moment, if you look at how she's chewing there, unfortunately you can't hear it, I can just hear it from here. She's using the carnassial shears, those teeth, sort of the equivalent of our molar teeth if you want, that part of the jaw. And they're very, very sharp edges, and they've also cut very close to each other, the same as scissors do. And without those teeth, most of your carnivores will be unable to feed, because they won't be able to cut through meat, they won't be able to cut into tissue and skin, and that way get to the obviously very high protein food that they're after. Interesting enough, also those long whiskers. Look at the design of the animal. Again, there's a certain benefit in them. Imagine walking around at night, very dark, you're hunting in difficult conditions, moving extremely slow, using soft padded feet. Those whiskers are handy, they give you a sense of where your face is going to move through, grass blades and branches and twigs. But also a big part of those whiskers is when they actually grab something, let's say they're holding onto something's throat, busy catching their food. Of course, that's a very potentially dangerous position as well. If that animal suddenly gets loose, might have sharp horns or big hooves or something that can damage your back. So there's also always the potential risk of injury or even death in a hunt for the predator. Those whiskers come into play as well. If they're holding onto something's throat, they can actually feel when that animal's heart stops beating. Those whiskers giving them literally a finger on the pulse, if you want. It's another use, if you want, for those whiskers. And leopards, I think, of all the cats, really got by far the most impressive whiskers. Beautiful if you look at it carefully, how long they actually are, even on an old girl like this one. Another part that you find also with lions and so on is they've got very rough tongues, almost like little nails in it if you want. Very, very coarse texture to the tongue, and again, various uses for it. Lapping up water when they're drinking, for instance. But also literally being able to lick meat off bones like she's doing at the moment. Making sure that you can get the maximum benefit from what food you've got available. Sorry, last station, go again. Oh, beautiful. She's just looking around, checking the surroundings, making sure maybe that nothing surprises her perhaps. Limping slightly as well. Literally cleaning her lips. Nicholas comment. Slightly backlit. She's lying open sand between us and her. Bit of yellow grass in the background. Even the curve of the tail, look at that in the background. All the detail of the animal, the whole extent of her beautiful shape. Just a question coming through from Richard and Beverly, or asking about Safari's eye. Mentioned it before, but of course not a problem to mention again. I'm sure many different people joining on the drive and wondering that it's a very, very clear aspect of Safari female. In fact, that is how you recognize her. And she's obviously gone to sleep now, but I'm sure you all noticed earlier, and I should have actually mentioned right at the beginning again. But that right eye of hers, very opaque, and it's actually recently got a bit of red in it. It looks very dramatic, actually. It looks like some kind of distant planet. But she lost the use of that eye and sustained the damage from a fight with Shuvati. Again, I wasn't here at the time, but I've heard it from Rexon and from other people that's what happened. Shuvati was a big male leopard, an impressive leopard as well. Beautiful big male, beautiful in the presence that he had rather than the sight. He wasn't the prettiest leopard ever, but a big, brawny sort of male. And there was some kind of fight between them where she was trying to protect youngsters, and in that fight is where she lost the eye. As you can see, while she's lying there just breathing sort of semi-shallow, belly's quite full. She's been feeding now for a few days. This food will easily sustain her now probably for, well, need be a week or more. A week or 10 days without eating, she'd still be fine. But most likely she'll catch something again 4 or 5 days from now typically. And she's all good. Maybe she's shy about it. But beautiful V on the collar. Quite often with leopard and some of the males especially, you get bands of like these black bands almost in the collar area.
Mm-hmm.